FJB, 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 FJB. Let's go, Brandon, sing it. We voting Donald Trump, baby. Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving. We voting Trump, Trump, baby. Trump, Trump, baby. November 5th, we going crazy. November 5th, we going crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome United States Senator Eric Schmitt of Missouri.
Hello, Milwaukee. Hello, America. I'm Eric Schmitt from the great state of Missouri, the Show Me State. It's not lost on me how unlikely my presence is on this stage. As the grandson of a butcher, the son of a man who worked 7 days a week in the midnight shift, my blue-collar roots run deep. And I'm proud the Republican Party is the party of working families. Missouri is home to cities named Liberty and Independence, and towns called Freedom and Defiance. So it should come as no surprise that we are sick and tired of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I am here with a simple message. Enough is enough. We're ready to take our country back. Under Joe Biden, the rule of law has disintegrated. Crime is rampant. Our communities are under siege, and our brave law enforcement officers are constantly being vilified. He stood idly by as liberal DAs and mayors pushed a defund the police agenda and empowered criminals, all while endangering law-abiding citizens. Kamala Harris shares in these failures. She campaigned as a progressive prosecutor and even called for us to reimagine public safety. Americans don't need to reimagine safety. We know exactly what safe communities look like. But the weakness and the wokeness of the Biden-Harris administration has made us less safe. Biden and Harris opened our border to terrorists, to criminals. They allowed drug cartels to flood our communities with Chinese fentanyl that's killing more than 200 Americans each and every day. It doesn't have to be this way. As Missouri's former Attorney General, I went toe-to-toe with the radical defund the police crowd and had the backs of our men and women in blue. When Soros-backed officials refused to prosecute violent criminals, I stepped in and put those dangerous felons behind bars. And I know President Trump will do the same. He'll restore law and order. He'll unapologetically back the blue. And President Trump will secure the border once and for all. I believe in an America where our best days are ahead of us. I believe in an America where moms and dads can raise their kids in safe communities. And I believe in an America where we defend the police, not defund the police. President Trump will make that dream a reality, and that's why we need him back in the White House. Ladies and gentlemen, a vote for President Trump is a vote to make America safe again. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome United States Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas.
I want to share two stories about immigration and two presidents. Manuel was a house painter in Arkansas and a green card holder from Mexico. He couldn't vote in 2020 yet, but his family could. Manuel proudly told his contractor that they had just cast their first votes for president. For whom? Donald Trump, of course. When asked why, Manuel gestured to the parking lot and responded, "Have you seen my new pickup? And did you know that my brother and sister both have full-time jobs? With Trump, we've had more work than ever. Things are good." Manuel became a citizen last year, and he's excited to vote for the first time for Donald Trump. By contrast, after Joe Biden and the border czar, Kamala Harris, reversed President Trump's immigration policies and welcomed a third world invasion, I traveled to our border. What did I see? The body of a migrant drowned in the Rio Grande. Human traffickers on the southern bank taunting the Border Patrol. Migrants huddled under a bridge. I asked them why they came. None said persecution. Most said for a job. A few admitted because they could get in. Another answered with one simple word: Biden. My flight home the next day was full of these migrants. And you, all of you, paid for their tickets. That's our choice. A secure border and an immigration system that works for all of our citizens, whether your ancestors bled with George Washington, or like Manuel in Arkansas, you just took the oath of citizenship, or Joe Biden's chaos. Donald Trump said, "You can't have a nation without borders," and he defended those borders. Joe Biden thinks borders are racist. Donald Trump will secure our border once again. Donald Trump banned travel to America from terrorist-infested countries. Joe Biden allowed ISIS to smuggle terrorists in. Donald Trump will protect America once again. Donald Trump insisted that immigrants must stand on their own 2 feet, the oldest principle of American immigration. Joe Biden gave migrants welfare, free hotels, and more. Donald Trump will stop migrant welfare once again. Donald Trump ended bogus asylum claims. Joe Biden created an app to let illegals schedule their arrival. Seriously. Donald Trump will stop this migrant fraud once again. Donald Trump cracked down on hiring illegals. Joe Biden let illegals take American jobs. Donald Trump will protect America's workers once again. So what choice will we make? Will we choose Joe Biden, open borders, amnesty, and chaos? No, of course not. We'll choose Donald Trump and his record of security, prosperity, and stability. As Manuel said, things were good with Donald Trump, but everything has gone to hell under Joe Biden. But this Biden chaos will end soon, because it's time for us to elect President Trump to secure our border and to make America great again. Thank you all. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michael Coyle from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Good evening, Milwaukee. My name is Michael Coyle. I'm from Philadelphia, in an area of Kensington, one of the worst neighborhoods in America. Kensington has long struggled, but in the last few years, things have gotten much worse. Our streets are plagued by drugs. You'll find human feces in front of your business or someone lying dead on your front steps. Politicians say nice things or clean up the streets for a couple weeks in an election year, or when someone famous visits, or even when there's bad news. But as soon as the politicians are no longer afraid for their jobs, we are no longer afraid for our lives. Our children grow up seeing this, thinking it's normal. But there is nothing normal about this. This should not be the norm happening in the richest nation on earth. As a dad and small business owner, I had to do something. I started a nonprofit to improve the neighborhood I love and shared videos online of the horror we live with. In just one day, in one park, where our kids passed to reach the public library, we picked up over 1,000 needles. 1,000. This is unacceptable. Philadelphia is not just my home, but the birthplace of the nation, where our founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence. This is not a tragedy for just my city, but for our nation. My city and all cities deserve better. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the ones who opened our southern border and allowed Chinese fentanyl to pour in unconditional. And life is only getting worse. Philadelphians aren't dying off fentanyl. They are dying off fentanyl as well. They are now using something called tranq, which is literally rots the flesh of the users. Do you know what the smell of rotting flesh smells like? The people of my city do. In Donald Trump, I see a leader who will end the urban nightmare. I ask you to join me in supporting him this fall, because a vote for President Trump is a vote to restore our cities and to make America safe again. Thank you. Kensington Beach for Trump.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Aaron Koper from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
That's right. Good evening. My name is Aaron Koper. I'm a grassroots organizer, a proud Republican woman, and a longtime resident of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I I'm here to urge Americans to re-elect President Trump and make America safe again. But I'm also here with a warning, because in recent years, I've had a front row seat to the chaos caused by Democrats and their soft on crime policies. Democrat Mayor Ed Gainey, Congresswoman Summer Lee, and especially Socialist County Executive Sarah Innamorato have demoralized and disrespected our police while unleashing criminals into our communities. The Pittsburgh Police Department has shrunk from 991 officers in 2020 to 750 at the end of last year. Response times are soaring. One city worker got mugged at gunpoint and raced to a police station, but no one was there to help. The Democrats have given Pittsburgh defund the police on steroids. The result is crime and chaos. There were 122 murders in my county in 2022, one of the deadliest years on record. Drug deaths are also near record highs. But statistics don't tell the full story. I've been chased by drug dealers on my own street. I've seen filthy tent cities pop up on my block. I've talked to business owners who find human waste, used needles, and shell casings outside their shops. I've felt the chill of fear as a woman when I'm alone in a parking garage or on the street. What the Democrats did to San Francisco, they're doing to my city. But law-abiding citizens are fighting back and saying no more. I saw this when Pittsburgh Republicans, independents, even Democrats came together to beat Soros prosecutor last November. It can happen again this November. If we stand together, we will beat the soft-on-crime Democrats and make our streets safe again. We can re-elect President Trump, and we can save our cities. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome American mom and funder.
Hi, my name is Ann Fundner, and I am the wife and mother of 4 children. I'm standing here today to share the tragic reality of open borders. I'm here to share the story of my firstborn son, my everything, my Weston. My family and I were living in Southern California when President Biden took office and opened our borders. My Weston was 15. He was an amazing big brother to his 3 younger siblings. Weston attended church twice a week, played football and hockey, and he loved to surf. He had a big heart, and he lived to make people laugh. He had so many good friends. And I was always vigilant to be the best mother that I could be. I was room mom, school ambassador, and I attended all of his sports. We had family dinners and barbecues at the beach. And like most teenagers, Weston wanted to fit in. And in a moment of peer pressure, he tried something that someone gave to him, and it took my baby's life. We did everything right. I had those conversations with him, and fentanyl still found my son. And on February 27th, 2022, our lives were shattered, and our baby was gone. This was not an overdose, it was a poisoning. His whole future, everything we ever wanted for him was ripped away in an instant. and Joe Biden does nothing. I hold Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the border czar, what a joke, and Gavin Newsom and every Democrat who supports open borders responsible for the death of my son. Thank you. 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 And the tens of thousands of American innocent children. For that alone, they should be voted out of office. Joe must go. Yes, he must. Joe must go. Absolutely. We have seen the highest number of fentanyl deaths during the Biden-Harris administration, and fentanyl is now the #1 killer of Americans ages 18 to 45, and it is quickly becoming the leading cause of death for teens, with 14 and under being the fastest growing demographic. We need President Trump back in office. We need a president who will seal the border, aggressively prosecute drug dealers, and stop Communist China from poisoning our children. This is not a red or blue issue. This is a red, white, and blue issue. And fentanyl doesn't care if you're black or white. It does not discriminate. This is an American issue. We need a president who will call the drug cartels what they are: terrorist organizations. This fight is not for me. My son is gone. This fight is for your children. We owe it to our children to elect a president who will win the war against fentanyl once and for all. It's too late for my son, Weston. Say his name, Joe Biden. Weston. Thank you. Thank you. But we can change this for your children. We need President Trump back to save the lives of our kids. Thank you. Thank you. God bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Morin family from Maryland.
Last year, we lost my beloved sister, Rachel. She went for a walk in one of our family's favorite places. This beautiful trail was to us a safe place where we pushed our babies in strollers, where we walked together as a family, where my wife and I got married, near what would later become the spot where my sister's body was found. Rachel, a joyful, accomplished athlete and mother of 5, was raped and murdered by a suspected illegal immigrant. This was described as among the most brutal and violent offenses that has ever occurred in Harford County, Maryland history. Open borders are often portrayed as compassionate and virtuous. But there is nothing compassionate about allowing violent criminals into our country and robbing children of their mother. My sister's death was preventable. The monster arrested for killing Rachel entered the U.S. unlawfully after killing a woman in El Salvador. Joe Biden and his designated border czar, Kamala Harris, opened our borders to him and others like him, empowering them to victimize the innocent. Yet, to this day, we have not heard from Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. They never apologized. But when Rachel was killed, President Trump called my family to offer his condolences. He wanted to meet with us. He cared. That is leadership. And we need real leadership back in the White House. What has gotten us through this unthinkable loss is our faith in Jesus Christ. And as brutal as the murder of my sister was, I pray that her killer will find Jesus Christ. For all the affected by senseless tragedy, I pray for peace, knowing that all things work together for good, to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. I pray that we hold worldly leaders accountable for safety and justice for innocent people. I pray that we make our country safe and secure in the memory of my sister Rachel, who loved life. Thank you. God bless America. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Madeline Brain from New York.
Good evening, everyone. My son, Sergeant Hassan Korea, an Afghanistan War retired veteran. He received enemy fire from the Taliban, only to be murdered with a knife on the streets of New York City. The 4 assailants responsible for his death initially were facing justice, but that changed when District Attorney Alvin Bragg was elected. Suddenly, 2 of the homicidal maniacs responsible for my son's death had their gang assault and murder charges completely dismissed. One of them received 14 months time served. Alvin Bragg charged her with assault with a shoe. And another one was sentenced to 7 years. I later learned that Alvin Bragg often dismisses and reduces dangerous criminals. He wants to clear the jails and return violent felons onto our streets every day. The injustice was devastating for me and my family. I don't want anyone else to experience the senseless pain that many other victims across this United States of America have to live with every day. So I decided to use the voice that God gave me to be the voice for the voiceless across America. We need justice for victims, and we need accountability for prosecutors who fail in their duty. Soft on crime prosecutors like Alvin Bragg in New York, Kim Foxx in Chicago, and George Gascon in Los Angeles have turned our great country and cities into war zones. Poor and neglected communities like mine are suffering. And who else in here is sick and tired of being sick and tired? The Democratic Party that poor minorities have been loyal to for decades, including myself, all right? They betrayed us. They stabbed us in the back. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who claim to represent us, have abandoned us. They neglected the poor minority communities across America. But mine eyes have been opened. Just like so many other poor minorities across America. Donald Trump shares our values, love of God and family and country. He's been a victim of the same corrupt system that I have been and my family has been. He is committed to providing economic opportunities, helping those suffering from addiction with long-term inpatient drug programs, rolling back deadly bail reform policies that are getting our children killed every single day, and supporting our police. We back the NYPD. We back the blue. Back the blue. NYPD, black the blue. Trump was right when he said, they're after us. He's just standing in the way. And guess what? He always will. That's why I'm standing with him today. Let's make America safe again. And good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Thank you. What a powerful story to follow. Good evening. I'm Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And before I get started, I want to say I have always been proud to stand with President Trump, but never have I been more proud than to stand with him right now, tonight. Not even an assassin's bullet could stop him. God Almighty intervened because America is one nation under God, and he is certainly not finished with President Trump. And our country is better for it. I am here tonight as America's youngest governor, the first woman to lead the great state of Arkansas. And most importantly, a mom to 3 amazing kids, Scarlett, Huck, George. When I was President Trump's White House press secretary, the best job, I got the chance to take my 4-year-old son, Huck, to Bring Your Kid to Work Day. Much like Jill now drags Joe to bring your husband to work day. And while I was briefing the president on the upcoming event in the Oval Office, all of the kids who were attending that day gathered in the Rose Garden, getting ready to meet him. And we were walking out onto that beautiful, perfect colonnade. And I saw out of the corner of my eye that my son Huck was running full speed directly at the President of the United States. Being the gracious person he is, President Trump bent down to give him a big hug. And right in front of everyone, Huck sidestepped the president, completely ignoring him in front of everyone, and ran straight into my arms. For my 4-year-old son, the most powerful man in the world had nothing on his mom. But because he's the amazing man he is, President Trump didn't mind at all. After all, he's a dad to 5 unbelievable kids and a grandfather to 10. And while that story is certainly a special memory for my family, it's an even greater reminder why I support President Trump, not for me, not for him, but for my kids and for yours. Under President Trump, America was safer, The world was safer, and it felt like the next generation would have a chance at the American dream. President Trump did the job that Kamala won't and Joe Biden simply can't. When we're honest, every American knows that we were so much better off under President Trump. So tonight, I don't want to just speak about President Trump's successful policies. While there are many, I want to talk about the man that I know. When the president hired me, I was the first mom and only the third woman to ever serve as the White House press secretary. And in that role, I endured relentless attacks from the left. I was insulted as a guest at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. My family was denied service and kicked out of a restaurant. And a parent at my 3-year-old son's preschool spit on my car. And in those moments, it was President Trump who defended me. And when an MSNBC host, the author of several books on empowering women, said I was unfit to be a mother, and another MSNBC host said I was vile, not even human, and that I should be choked, MSNBC again did nothing. But our president pulled me aside, looked me in the eye, and said, "Sarah, you're smart, you're beautiful, you're tough, and they attack you because you're good at your job. Never let them stop fighting." Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. That's the Donald Trump that I know, and that's the Donald J. Trump I will always respect. The left doesn't care about empowering women. Biden and Harris can't even tell you what a woman is. They only care about empowering themselves. But we have a president who believes in empowering every American and that our country is worth fighting for. For the last 4 years, Republican governors have been leading that fight and doing what Joe Biden refuses to do. We've deployed the National Guard to the border. We've cracked down on crime and drugs. We cut taxes to give hardworking Americans a break from Bidenflation. And we empowered parents with universal school choice across the country. Donald Trump was the very first president in my lifetime to take a hard line against China, and I'm proud to be the first and only governor in the country to kick communist China off our farmland and out of my state. President Trump is a leader, and he's the leader our country needs. And if ever there was a doubt, earlier this week, we saw just how tough, resilient, courageous, and daring this man is, and we can't get him back in the White House fast enough. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not called to stand still in the face of great danger. You and I were put on this earth at a moment in time to charge boldly ahead. We cannot know what the future holds, but we know damn sure who holds the future in his hands. God spared President Trump from that assassin because God is not finished with him yet. And he most certainly is not finished with America yet either. With God as our guide and President Trump back in the White House, we will show the world that America is the place where freedom reigns and liberty will never die. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, let us not leave here just excited about a great few days, but let us leave here energized and committed to making sure that we protect our freedom and we have the ability to pass it on to the next generation, because America is the greatest country that the world has ever known, and our kids and our grandkids deserve to enjoy it the way each of us did. And we will with President Trump back in the White House. Thank you so much. God bless the great state of Arkansas and the amazing United States of America. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome former United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Ben Carson.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You know, Sarah Huckabee always says to me, I hate to follow you. But I think she turned the table on me tonight. I want to thank you all for being here and for being involved. Like many of you last week, I watched with horror as the events unfolded in that Pennsylvania field. I saw President Trump, a dear friend, escape death by mere inches, and my thoughts immediately turned to the book of Isaiah, that says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Well, let me tell you the weapons that they used. First, they tried to ruin his reputation, and he's more popular now than ever. And then they tried to bankrupt him, and he's got more money now than he had before. And then they tried to put him in prison, and he's freer and has made other people free with him. And then last weekend they tried to kill him, and there he is over there alive and well. You know, I have no doubt that God lowered a shield of protection over President Trump. And I join millions of Americans in thanksgiving for President Trump's safety. And I encourage you to join me in praying each day for his continued protection. You know, our hearts Our hearts go out to the victims in the audience. Let's also pray for them and their families. These events have brought unusual clarity to the times we are living in. We have all harbored the nagging feeling that everything we love is slipping away. All you have to do is turn on the television. The free press, a pillar of any free society, has abused the public trust and resorted to lies, deception, and disinformation. They divide us along lines of race, class, and gender, rather than uniting us around our shared bond as Americans. Our government has been no better, shredding our Constitution and upending the rule of law. We have a wide open border, a broken education system, and chaos breaking out around the world. And on top of it all, we have a president who, well, if you can't say anything good, don't say anything at all. But ask anyone around the world, what does it mean to be an American? Most will tell you that it means unlimited opportunity. That where you begin in life doesn't dictate where you will end. That's the America I grew up in. In no other country could a poor inner city kid raised by a single mom make it to an Ivy League school, then to medical school, become a successful neurosurgeon, run for president, and eventually become a member of the president's cabinet. You know, and as a member of his cabinet, I had a chance to work closely with him. And I got to tell you, this is a man who is a gift to us as a nation. He is very gifted, he is very smart, he is very compassionate, he cares about people. And I'll tell you, the first time I met him, it was before either of us got into the political arena. And we were at Mar-a-Lago, and someone came up to him and said, "Mr. Trump, Rod Stewart just walked in." And he said, "I don't care, this is Ben Carson." But I feel blessed that I've been able to live the American dream. But my story is moving further out of reach in America today. The lessons my mother taught me, like hard work and the value of well-rounded patriotic education and faith in God above all else, are being forced out of the public square. But we're all here today because we know we can bring these things back. By God's grace, we live in a country where the people rule. We have the power to choose the kind of nation we will be and the kind of men and women that will lead us. And today the choice could not be more clear. The most repeated phrase in the Bible is this: "Do not be afraid," or "fear not." It appears 365 times in Scripture, a reminder to live each day with faith, hope, and joy as joyful warriors for Christ. And when God is with us, nobody can stand against us. With this assurance from the Almighty, even the face of evil itself cannot shake our resolve. We will keep fighting, we will keep praying, and by the grace of God, we will save our country and re-elect President Trump together with Vice President Vance this November. And I want you to remember this. In 1831, Alexis de Tocqueville came to America to study our nation because the Europeans were fascinated. They wanted to know how could a nation barely 50 years old already compete with them on virtually every level. So he looked at our government. He was duly impressed by our checks and balances and separation of powers. And then he looked at our business environment. He was duly impressed by how we encourage entrepreneurship and innovation. And he looked at our educational system, And he was blown away by the fact that he could find a mountain man in the middle of the woods who could read, who could tell him about the Declaration of Independence. But the thing that impressed him the most was when he went to our churches and he heard those inspirational sermons from the pulpits that inspired a ragtag bunch of militiamen to defeat the most powerful army in the world and gave the American people a moral base. And he concluded his 2-volume set, Democracy in America, with these words. He said, "America is great because America is good. And if America ever ceases to be good, she will cease to be great. It is our job to make America good, and let's do this by re-electing President Trump so we can make America great." Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome United States Senator of Florida, Marco Rubio.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't say polo. Don't say polo. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. The last few days remind us that the life of every living thing and the breath of all mankind is in the hands of God. We were brought to the precipice of the abyss, and by the hand of God, reminded of what truly matters in our lives and in our country. This thing we do called politics, it matters. It's not unimportant. But it is our people who must always matter the most in everything we do. By giving voice to everyday Americans, President Trump has not just transformed our party, he has inspired a movement. A movement of the people who grow our food and drive our trucks, the people who make our cars and build our homes, the people whose taxes fund our government, and whose children fight our wars. Americans like Corey Comparatori. He was a former fire chief and a loving husband. He was described as the best dad a girl could ever ask for. As a man of God who loved Jesus fiercely and looked after members of his church. Corey was one of the millions of everyday Americans who make our country great. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, and the only reason why we know his name and story now is because last Saturday, he shielded his wife and daughter from an assassin's bullet and lost his life the way he lived it, a hero. For those still wondering who are in the press